Hey PH, it's Andrew, and I live here in New York, and more specifically I live in the East Village. I moved here from Los Angeles a few years ago, and so this is where I live. I live in a tiny 500 square foot apartment where I work, try to relax, cook and eat, and sleep from time to time. I live here with my wife Liz, my dogs Gus and Sven, and we all live here in the East Village. Professional courtesy in the US can change a lot depending on where you're located, but one thing that's pretty common with people in the US is that we like our space. I mean, even here in New York, we usually give each other about a foot or so of space. And so for that reason, we don't generally do kissing or hugging or things like that in a business context. Typically it's just kept to a handshake or something to that degree. So what I usually recommend is, your handshake says a lot about you, especially in the US, and so you kind of want a firm handshake. Too hard and people might think you're too aggressive, too soft and it might show that you're maybe weak of character. So it's really sort of an art of just getting that handshake down. And generally people in the US don't talk about sensitive subjects in a business context. So things that we consider sensitive are income, religion, maybe even age or health status, things like that. Generally I recommend you keep to topics that are universally safe. Thank you. Universally safe, such as current events or things that you've read about recently, intellectual topics, things like that. So one thing that's really common in the US culture is this idea of improving yourself or improving things. And this has two effects. One is it feels like everything's constantly changing or being built or getting better. But at the same time, because we're constantly feeling like there's something better, it leads to a lot of dissatisfaction because you realize that there's something better you could be having. And that dichotomy sort of leads to a weird sort of stress that people feel here about, everything's great, but nobody's happy. And you've probably heard somebody like Louis C.K. make comments like that before. The idea of bettering oneself or bettering one's position is sort of reinforced in a lot of different ways, from our marketing campaigns, but also to things like most people who come here are from somewhere else, right? Even myself, right? Like I can't say I'm native to the US. My ancestors came here at some point, and part of that is most people who came here were seeking something better. So that's very, very deeply ingrained, this idea of doing better, getting better, self-improvement all the time. Like I said, the US is a pretty big place, so it's kind of hard to say that there's anything that's specifically disrespectful to everyone. In fact, I'd say there's probably pretty big differences between the East and West Coast, and even the South and the North. But what I would say is that there are common things that are considered respectful in US culture, and that would be things such as making eye contact when someone is talking to you, looking them directly in the eye, showing that you're paying attention to them only. Allowing for difference of opinion without degrading your view of the person, I think is a sign of respect. And I think another good one is showing up on time, whether it's to a meeting or a party or an event. Showing up on time is one of those things that it just shows a respect for the other person's time and what they have going. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about US culture, at least from my perspective. I can't say that it reflects everyone everywhere, but I can say that these are sort of my observations so far. So, thanks.